YouTube, and welcome into the start of another part 0 video for our 2018 A&W Deity Challenge. You say game mechanic, it's almost the end of it, 2018. I know, I gotta cover you guys. Also, well, I gotta be that guy. That's rude. Very uncharismatic. Very uncharismatic. We're already starting this off in a very sour note. I don't like it one bit. But let's talk about Victoria. Poor Victoria. Gosh, I loved the ship of the line. I loved some of her abilities, her unique archer and stuff in Civ 5. The apple has fallen a little bit far from the tree with Victoria in Civ 6, unfortunately. So let's talk about why. Pax Britannica. Not a great way to start off. It's okay. All cities founded on a continent other than your home continent receive a free melee unit. Can be quite powerful. As we've talked ad nauseum, continent scripting is kind of rubbish, to use a British colloquialism. It's just all over the place and not reliable, and so sometimes this might give you 10 free swordsmen, and sometimes this might give you absolutely jack squat. So there's pretty high variance on this ability. After founding or constructing a naval dockyard, there will be an additional free melee unit. This is an ability that's gotten changed around a few times. That's one of the more recent changes. And then the last little bit of this is just inconsistency and weird. So up to 2 free units per city can be cute. Again, just if continent scripting were actually a thing that made sense in this game, I would maybe rate this higher, but unfortunately it's not. And so hit or miss, you know, swing for the fences or keep re-rolling until you find a continent split. There's some things you can do to have fun with it. But as a whole, it's just not that good. British Museum, while I rate a 2 out of 5, the reason I rate that a 2 out of 5 instead of a much higher is that it's only really good in a culture game. But if you are in a cultural game and you are using this, you're using Victoria to do a tourism victory, this goes to a 5 to 5. This is an insane ability for a cultural start or a cultural strategy. But really just 100% useless in every other game, which is why it's only a 2 out of 5. But if I were rating this specifically for culture only, this would be 5 out of 5. Each archaeological museum holds up to 6 artifacts instead of 3, and can support 2 archaeologists at once. There's some wonkiness that you'll see in the playthrough. There are a couple of things that confuse me about the way this works. One, British Museum is not actually called the British Museum. It's just you just build it. You just build your normal museum, and then this ability comes into play. So it's not actually called that. And then there's some weird wonkiness where if you fill up a museum, you can basically wind up wasting some archaeological charges, like if you move around. But it's so you'll see it it's almost too confusing to even try to explain. But there's some weirdness that comes with this ability. But what it does for you is it basically doubles up your archaeological museums. That's the more efficient building anyways, as far as tourism per great work, as opposed to the art museum. They're obviously take a little more production to go get, or gold, because you need to get an archaeologist. But once you do, there's a pretty high culture and tourism yield out of that. So automatically theming it makes them even better. So you need to get 6 artifacts, but once you do automatically themed, that's really good. Artifacts can be really weird and really all over the place. So it can be difficult to theme them sometimes. And so automatically themed museums are insane. And this is a great source of really late game tourism. Very specifically for late game tourism, otherwise totally ignorable. So really strong in cultural games, as I've said many times. Redcoat and Sea Dog. So what I do with this in the rankings, I combine these because some leaders have two units and most only have 1. So both of these are pretty average units. The Redcoat is an industrial era. 10 combat strength when fighting on a continent that isn't your own, no disembark cost. So again, I've already said my piece about continent scripting. That can be good. That often it's just nothing. Disembark cost, okay, sure, cute. But other than that, it's just kind of a unit. It's kind of cool when you get them for free, if you can make that work with Pax, but not amazing otherwise. The Sea Dog is just, man, again, ship of the line, Civ 5, awesome. Sea Dog, Civ 6, pretty forgettable. Pretty forgettable. So yeah, so you, as you can see, she's a weird mix of like wanting to be naval, but then a cultural thing as well. It should be noted, now that this is almost the end of December 2018, we have a lot of new information about the Gathering Storm expansion that's coming out, and British Museum is getting changed, and I would argue that that's her best ability. So kind of weird. We'll go over what it's changing to later on. The Royal Navy Dockyard, as a unique district, I like the start of that. The fact that it is unfortunately a dockyard is a bit of a bummer. It builds in half the time, so if you're doing specifically a naval domination, this becomes amazing. But in all other games, it's like I don't want to make harbors. I really don't. I want to make commercial hubs and things like that. So it's kind of weird unless you're, again, very specifically tailoring your game to a naval domination, archipelago, island plate, something like that. But it is kind of cool if you do need to use it. Removes the movement penalty for embarking and disembarking from this tile. Okay, sure. Must be built on coast or lake terrain. Yep, sure. Okay, again, redundant. One movement for all naval units. That's, again, really good for naval domination stuff. 2 gold and 4 loyalty on a foreign continent. That's also really good specifically for naval domination. When you're doing naval domination, it can be difficult to... You're often warring further away than you normally would with your boats. And so when you capture some cities, unless you're capturing all at once, it can be difficult to maintain some loyalty. So the fact that you're getting 4 loyalty, which is a decent little spike out of a captured harbor, is quite good as well, because once you capture somebody else's harbor, it becomes your dockyard, helps you maintain loyalty, helps you a lot in a naval domination game. So two major ways you can play Victoria, one of them being naval, one of them being cultural. I try to do both for you guys in this game and set up something unique and that we haven't really done yet in the challenge so far. It goes okay. You'll see the lay of the land here shortly. But this is a lot of fun game. We're gonna show exactly how good British Museum is and exactly how confusing it can be. TGM gets confused a couple times. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy the Let's Play. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch and Twitter. On Twitch, I am at The Game Mechanic, and on Twitter, I am at TGM Tweets. Come say hi to us in person on the internet. Thanks for watching, everybody, and enjoy the Let's Play.